You guys loved it so much the first time, so we're back for part 2 of reacting to your insane UFC hot takes, and we cannot wait to roast the crap out of y'all once again.
No, we have to be nicer this time. We actually have to. I don't know. I felt like you were just dismissing all these takes as bad the first time.
Bad.
They weren't awful.
Okay, well,
they're just on our least favorite fighters. So you have extreme bias syndrome.
Yeah. Well, everyone has bias.
All right, let's start off with our first one from Danger Blake. Hot take: outside of Armin and Ilya, Justin Gaethje is the guy to beat Islam. His wild style and power would make it into a dogfight. What do you think?
I think, first off, there's probably a couple other guys inside of lightweight who are a little bit of a tougher matchup. I think Poirier, we saw him go 5 rounds.
Paddy Pimblett, obviously, the GOAT.
Holloway, I think I like more than Gaethje just because his takedown defense, and we've seen him go 5 rounds with Volk multiple times. So I think that those fights line up a little bit better. And I think Charles is also still tougher for Islam than Justin Gaethje. And then also making it a dogfight, there's no such thing as a dogfight with Islam. He's in control. He's in control. You can't turn an Islam fight into a dogfight.
It's so true. Because with Islam, like, the way that I've had it explained is you are the one, if you're fighting Islam, that has to close the distance. Islam will never have to close the distance because he can just shoot. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you're always the one who's trying to close the distance on him because he has the more weapons than you. So it's just insanely difficult to beat him. Justin Gaethje, like, it's not at this stage in his career. Maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Even a year ago, you could have said this. But post loss to Max Hall at UFC 300, we just don't know what form he's going to be in, how's his chin. We just don't know what he's going to look like inside of 2025 in the UFC.
Also, his grappling, I just don't think it's going to be good enough to hold off Islam for 5 rounds.
Yeah.
I do think Poirier does have better grappling than Gaethje, and he was barely able to survive 5 rounds.
Yeah.
There was many times where he was like in a body lock on his back. So it's not going to be an easy night.
And it's not a terrible hot take.
It's not the worst,
but in reality, it almost has 0% chance of actually having true merit.
Exactly. Like, who beats Islam?
Yeah. Where we move on to our next one from Samuel. Imavov beats Izzy. This is not even a hot take.
No, it's literally 50-50.
Yeah. Like, you have 2 fighters you have 2 picks for a fight. You can have a hot take for a fight, whereas, like, Wang Kong's last fight, if you chose her opponent to win, that's a hot take, major underdog. But, like, I don't think that the odds for this fight are that crazy. I don't think they've been released yet, but, like, they're not going to be crazy odds, especially with Izzy being on this losing streak and Imavov being, on the up.
Izzy's probably going to be a minus 200.
Yeah.
Like, I think it'll be closer than a lot of people think, just because Imavov is so well-rounded. He's kind of like, he has good striking, good boxing, and good wrestling. He's not elite at pretty much anything. It's just the way that he puts it all together, right? And I think Izzy is just like, people have to accept that he is out of his prime. Yeah. Once you accept that he's truly out of his prime, I think it becomes a lot easier to think that he can lose to a contender. I think it's just really hard to imagine Izzy losing to a contender right now.
But it's how it goes.
That's how it goes. From Paul David 912, hot take is Hooper ain't all that. Why are we valuing a Guida win? He's literally said he has not trained BJJ in years. He also has 11 sub losses and shoots with his head on the outside asking to get subbed. Look, I don't think anyone realistically gave Guida a path to victory in that fight or a realistic chance to win. But the thing is, with a prospect like Hooper, who isn't in the rankings or even like 1 fight away from the rankings, you have an expectation for them to keep performing at a high level against bad people or not as high level people. And when they do exactly that, when they sub them in the first round or when they get a Peyton Talbot 20-second KO, that's exactly what they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be building up their confidence. And Hooper has had a great win over a Russian wrestler as well. So he's good. He is really good.
Yeah, and I think, like, piggybacking off what you said, is with these UFC prospects, Dana White is trying to put them in the best position possible to go out and create name for themselves, to create hype for themselves. He's giving them these favorable matchups early on so that they can go and be the performance of the night. They can go and have these highlight finishes. And that's what really separates the great UFC prospects from the ones that are like, who knows if they'll actually pan out. You know, Raul Rosas Jr. has all the hype in the world, but when you're going to a decision every time, no one's talking about your fight after. You know, but Chase Hooper, Peyton Talbot, they're both out here getting first round finishes. Or even if you look at an Oralbai, you know, Oralbai goes into this absolute war
with someone who's like right outside the rankings.
People are going to talk about that.
Yeah.
So I think that, like, I mean, I think your hot take to take that win with a grain of salt, 100%. But Hooper's pretty good. His jiu-jitsu and his confidence and how much we've seen him grow. Like it feels like he's really matured, which is something that I look for inside of UFC prospects. Fighters who aren't fighting like they're young.
He's 25. Like he's already had a lot of fights in the UFC. So he has so much experience already against just being in that position in the octagon, you know? All right, next hot take.
From Big Brain Lee, hot take, Tom Aspinall should be above John Jones in the pound-for-pound rankings due to the speed and flawlessness of his victories, as well as his activity in comparison to John. No. If you cannot have a contender ahead of their champion in the division.
That would be so weird.
That makes no sense.
I guess, like, if you strip back all the belts and it's just like fighter versus fighter, Tom Aspinall does have more recent wins over his division.
Yeah.
But it's like literally no one is ever going to agree on the pound for pound rankings as long as John Jones is in them.
Yeah. And
because it's like, how much are you valuing his whole career?
Yeah. And realistically, John Jones only has 2 wins that should actually be contributing to his pound for pound rankings, because they say it's kind of like 3 years, but that even might be too far. So it's like, it's his Gone win and his Stipe win. So 2 finishes, while you have Tom, who has finishes over Blades and Pavlovich and Volkov in that time. So it's like, how do you value it? You know, Jones has these 2 championship wins.
Oh yeah, you said Pavlovich.
Aspinall has these 2 interim title wins. So it's like,
yeah.
If we look at who has the better skill set, it's actually not as clearly Tom. Like, I think that's one thing that I've really been, like, as we've been talking more about this fight, is that it realistically is a lot closer of a fight than people just immediately go out and say, oh, Tom Aspinall just destroys John Jones. Like, it's still John Jones.
Yeah, still has all the experience.
So there's merit to this. There's definitely merit to this hot take.
Yeah, sure. All right, let's move on. James Long 9980. Hot take is that O'Malley is a nightmare matchup for Umar.
I 100% agree.
No, there is no nightmare matchup for Umar. It's like saying that, I know they're not at the same level yet, but it's like saying, who's a long fighter in lightweight? Max Holloway is a nightmare matchup for Islam Makhachev.
Okay, but can I give my reasoning? I think that nightmare probably isn't the right word. Worst matchup for Umar, O'Malley, because he has the 1-punch KO power. That's what it takes to go and beat a dominant fighter like Umar. You know what? He can go and he can beat a guy who's super well-rounded like a Figueiredo 10 times out of 10. But when you're fighting a guy like O'Malley, how many times out of 10 does he get that 1-punch KO?
But the thing is, I think O'Malley and Sandhagen are like similar frames, similar builds, and Sandhagen could not even hold a candle to what Umar could throw up in terms of wrestling and striking.
But Sandhagen doesn't have the power of O'Malley.
I know, but it's just like, I don't see anything that O'Malley has done in his last fight against Merab that would give Umar trouble.
Yeah.
Obviously, it depends on how Umar does in this Merab fight.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But we've also seen that, you know, we've also said multiple times on this channel that you have to start all 5 rounds on the feet. And that's an opportunity for Sean to go. And we've seen Sean be able to give it in the 5th round, you know. So there's merit to this. I think that in terms of the fighters inside of bantamweight, Sean O'Malley is probably the worst matchup for Umar, just because he probably has the most power inside of the division.
Yeah.
All right, from X-Robot. Hot take is Movsar beats Ilya 48-47. If they fight, Ilya would take round 1 and round 2. Then Movsar would put grapple to win round 3, 4, and 5. I just don't know how you strictly grapple for 3 rounds while you're down. And you say that the champion wins the first 2 rounds, and then the challenger, who has Movsar ever even fought in a 5-round fight before? He maybe has 1 or 2.
I don't know. At the most 1.
Yeah, the challenger, who has very little experience in a 5-round fight, goes on and wins the last 3 rounds.
It's rare. I think, like, Ilya, he gets so good as time goes on. He reads people like a book. And like we've said this in the past, first round Ilya is where he's most susceptible to getting hit, right? Second round, third round, he just reads you so hard. I went back and I watched the Max fight and the Volk fight and the Josh Emmett fight from Ilya recently. He is genuinely unreal. Like the grappling, also his grappling highlights back in the day, like he's a high level grappler with tons, like his first 8 wins were all submission wins, right? His first decision win was his debut fight in the UFC. And then he went on to get all those KOs in a row. So Ilya is, in my opinion, unbeatable. Movsar did not show, he didn't show enough. Like he did show something against Aljo because Aljo's a really high level grappler. And I think Movsar might be the toughest test for Ilya, but I still think Ilya can KO anyone.
Yeah, I think that it's tough because we haven't seen Ilya's grappling in a few fights. Saying that Movsar just dominates Ilya on the ground is tough because Ilya could be just as strong as Movsar, and I think that's one of the biggest things with these Dagestani guys is that they're all so strong. So that's how they're able to dominate. But Ilya could be right up there, just as strong as Movsar. So it's tough. I think that obviously Movsar could beat Ilya 48-47. And then you go into all this detail with the rounds, and who really cares about the merit of the rounds? Like, it's not really the hot take is Movsar beats Ilya.
Yeah.
100% could happen.
It could, but I don't think it will. I genuinely do not think Ilya is beatable. I also looked at Diego Lopez against Brian Ortega again, just because like we didn't watch that fight live, so I always forget it. And Diego Lopez, I think, is overrated quite a lot. I watched the fight. The dude, his striking, if he gets in there with Ilya, he gets KO'd in 2 rounds. Like, I would say easily, too. He gasses out so fast. And I think Movsar versus Diego Lopez, if they fight, I think Movsar wins again, unfortunately. It sucks, but I think Diego Lopez, like, good striking. He has powerful striking, but he loads up on pretty much every punch, which makes him gas out a lot faster. Goes for finishes, which is exciting as, it's more exciting than anyone else in the division, pretty much. But it's like...
It's not great.
No regard for your
career.
Yeah. All right. Hot take. Caleb3639. Peter Yan isn't sniffing the top 3 contenders in bantamweight.
This is the first terrible hot take of the video. Because if we're looking at the top 3 contenders, Umar, Sean O'Malley, and Peter Yan's the third one.
Yeah.
We can get rid of Peter Yan and put who's 4? Sandhagen?
Sandhagen. And then Figgy, which he already beat.
Can we talk about...
And he beat Sandhagen.
Can we talk about Peter Yan versus Sean O'Malley, like arguably a rivalry? I mean, can we talk about Peter Yan versus Sean O'Malley, arguably a robbery for Sean O'Malley? That fight was so close, but he ain't stiffing Sean O'Malley.
It makes no sense.
This is a terrible take.
He's beaten the
Sandhagen,
5th guy and the 4th guy.
Yeah. And then almost beat the number 1 guy, the former champion.
And then hasn't fought Umar.
It lost brutally to Merab. Got dominated by Merab.
Yeah.
But Sean O'Malley is in there, and he's literally number 3 ranked bantamweight. So this is a terrible take.
All right. N-B-MMA, Brian Battle, top 10 for almost sure.
In 2025?
Hell no. Never.
No.
Never, ever, ever.
In the future, if he gets hot at the right time...
I doubt it. Who's he beating in the top 10? I can't
Stephen Thompson?
No shot. No shot. Stephen Thompson's striking is way too high level. The distance management is way too good. Brian Battle...
Yeah, but like in a year time when Stephen Thompson's another year older?
I think, I don't know. I don't believe in it.
Sean Brady?
No, not a shot.
I don't know. I think that...
Did you see Gilbert Burns versus Morales is in the works? Why are they pushing Morales so much? It's crazy.
They want more for Prates, I guess. Yeah. Or they're testing Morales more. They don't want to test Prates with a grappler like that.
Prates versus Leon Edwards. Coming soon.
No, Leon versus JDM. Main event. Yeah, I don't know. I think that it's not terrible. I'm high on Brian Battle. I don't know if he's top 10 inside of 2025. And you also, he's a little bit older. He's 31, so...
Yeah. It's true.
Not a ton of time. Speaking of age, Gary Fox, hot take, Pantoja loses this year if he fights more than once. So we're just going to fight once a year for all of our champions? Thanks, Gary. He's 34 and his birthday is in April, and he'd need to be the first person in the UFC to beat the 35 curse under welterweight. I could totally see Kai Kara France breaking his chin. Well, I think that fight might happen before April.
Yeah, or in April. But
Yeah,
I think
you know what? There is merit to this.
Yeah.
There is merit.
Kai Car France is the guy, or Manel Cap. Like, those two people are people who could break his chin. And it's very possible. Like, his chin has been broken before. So we could definitely see it. You're right. He is getting older, but the 35 curse, I think you said he'd be the first person in the UFC to beat the
Under welterweight.
That's not true. I think the stats are, it's awful. It's awful for 35, but I believe there are 2 or 3 championship wins.
How old was Cejudo?
No, I don't think that's right.
He's not that old.
But I think the stat is like, it's like 2 or 3 wins and it's like 30 something.
Well, how
losses.
old's Merab right now?
He's same age as O'Malley, isn't he?
I thought Merab.
Or is he 34?
I thought Merab was. I mean, he's 34, but I guess he doesn't have a championship defense.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not the worst hot take. I think it has merit, but Pantoja is looking like he's levels above everyone.
He might be he's getting better every fight still, and he's 34 years old.
Also, when did Mighty Mouse win a championship? Like, even in one championship, right?
Yeah.
He's still, I think he was above 35. Hot take, Dricus beats Hamzat by a close decision. Could happen. You never know.
I mean, it's interesting with Hamzat because you never know what version of Hamzat. Are you going to get the Hamzat, the 1 round, 2-minute submission Hamzat, or are you going to get the guy who's going to bring you to a close decision, like we've seen him do multiple times versus guys?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say the same thing every fight. If Hamzat doesn't submit you in the first round, it could be a long night for Hamzat.
Yeah.
You know? And Dricus, who randomly gains energy in the 4th and 5th round, like, yeah, for sure he could win one of the first 3 and then the last 2, and then you're looking at a split decision.
Yeah.
So it's definitely possible.
Definitely possible. KBZN, hot take. Bilal beats Shavkat in a clear 49-46, potential 50-45, but loses to Buckley.
So I think this person is pretty much just
Trying to make me kill myself?
No, they're just regurgitating what MMA Guru thinks. This is exactly what he said. Bilal is a bad matchup for Shavkat. Buckley is a bad matchup for Bilal. And the reason why they're saying that is because Buckley can sprawl. He's strong. He's aggressive in his striking, whereas Shavkat relies on the clinch, which might be difficult.
Against Bilal.
Yeah, against Bilal. So it's not the worst take. I don't think it's your own take, though.
No, and this is literally this is the perfect take to try to piss me off.
Yes.
So obviously, I think Bilal could beat Shavkat. I don't know if it would be a 50-45 against a guy like Shavkat.
It'd probably be close.
I think that's tough to have because he does a lot of damage with his punches compared to a guy like Leon, who's more of a point fighter. So Shavkat does damage. He's going to be aggressive in the fight. We just saw him go 5 rounds for the first time, I believe, at UFC 310. So we know that he can go 5 rounds and then loses to Buckley. I don't think Bilal loses to Buckley, if I'm being completely honest. But
no, I don't think so.
Obviously, it's a hot take, so it's not terrible.
Yeah. All right. Sooner, Bo Nickel beats a top 15 opponent. Yeah, he could beat
100%.
3 or 4 of them right now, I think. In terms, if he wrestled, he could beat 100% Michelle Pereira.
Michelle Pereira, Shara.
And then Paulo Costa, maybe.
Crazy take.
Yeah.
Adesanya. No, but you.
Hear me out. I don't know.
The way that we have to think about it. No, I don't think he would beat Adesanya yet.
No.
2026.
Imagine though. Yeah, I mean they're on different trajectories
and they have very different skill sets that ally differently.
Yeah, they would never make that matchup.
No, because they'd be like, oh, Adesanya's dead.
Yeah. Perates isn't top 10 welterweight level. Well, he's 12, so he's close right now. I think he can definitely get a win over. I think he could get a win over Gilbert Burns for sure, and that would put him in top 10. I think Stephen Thompson is probably a pretty good matchup for him. Depends on the night. Who else is there? Even higher up, like Colby Covington. If Colby performs again like we just saw him, I think Perates easily beats him like that. Yeah, it's tough. Perates, we'll have to see how he does against someone who can actually grapple. 3
more here. Jack Drought, hot take. Merab and Bilal both keep their belts all of 2025. I don't mind that.
Yeah, it would be surprising if both of them did, but it's like not impossible.
Yeah, like this is like the perfect amount of hot in a hot take. You know, it's not too hot where it could never happen, but it's also like they need to win four fights combined.
Yeah,
so,
against the number one contenders in their division.
Yeah.
Shavkat, Umar, and then Bilal is probably going to face the winner of like a JDM, Leon.
JDM, Leon or Buckley. And then Merab will probably face Pantoja, O'Malley, or...
Yeah. All right. Second last one. Kyle Baralho could take the belt off DDP right now.
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I think there's literally no shot.
Yeah, I think that if this fight happened, I would smash DDP money line.
Yeah, pause.
Just don't clip the
smash DDP.
Yeah, but no, he's just not there yet.
No.
He's being pushed a little bit too quickly. He needs to slow down a little bit because him going up against the top guys in middleweight, not looking that good right now. He needs to slow it down and like over this next year, don't even sniff the title because he needs to learn how to play defense.
Yeah, it's tough. He's very hittable, so Dricus could definitely land something big. Dricus, I would assume, is quite a bit stronger than him as well, so it'd be a long night for Kyle, and I think he needs 2 more wins until he even thinks about the belt. All right, last one. Hot take from CatNoob 2896. Ian Gary
becomes...
Okay, I was trying to read this. Ian Gary becomes top 3 in the rankings or champ. I think Gary could beat anybody in the division. Well, he just lost to somebody in the division.
Well, saying that you think Ian Barry could beat
Ian Barry? Who's Ian Barry?
Saying that Ian Gary could beat everyone inside of the division is literally the most tame thing of all time. Like, obviously, he could beat anyone, you know? That fight versus Shavkat wasn't... Like, it wasn't like Shavkat dominated him. Like, another night, Gary could have potentially won that fight. So saying he could beat anyone is literally facts. You're speaking facts. Becomes top 3 in the rankings? No. He's not going to become top 3 by the end of the year.
There's so many good people at the top.
Yeah, and especially with him coming off a loss, so he's not going to be fighting someone. He's not going to go and fight Usman or Leon or Shav.
Shav, that's your nickname for him? You guys are tight?
Little Shavy-Davy.
Shavy-Davy. Yeah, it's tough. 3 is high. I'd say 5 for sure.
He could be 5. He could go out there realistically and beat Sean Brady.
Yeah.
Beat JDM.
I think he's probably ends at 5 or 4 at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But then 3 is held down by either Bilal if he loses the belt or Shavkat, and then JDM, and then...
No, JDM's 4.
Yeah, but I think he moves up if he beats Leon.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And then probably Buckley is even higher than him, too. I think they remake that fight, actually. Buckley versus Cuckley. All right, let's end it there.
All right, that is going to wrap it up for us today. This time, instead of hot takes, go down to the comments if you're still watching. Leave us your UFC questions. So you can ask us our favorite fighters, what we think the best fight of all time is.
I like that.
Any UFC questions you have, leave them in the comments. We'll be asked this in a couple videos. Just so we can do reacting to your insane UFC questions.
Yeah.
And we get to give our own personal opinions on stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And we can get roasted more because we love that. But while you're down there, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. We really appreciate all the love, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
See ya.